Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Immigrant Section. My boy's already laughing. I don't even get it. Yo, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. It's your boy, Abbas Wahab, checking up on y'all. Remember, December 9th, the Forced Diversity Comedy Show. If you're in Toronto, get those tickets. They're almost sold out. Go to abbaswahab.com to get them. And with me today in the studio, new comic in the scene. He comes to us from way of America. This guy is I just see him coming into Toronto and he's killing it already. Crazy talented. My dude, fucking Ashwyn Singh, dog. What are you saying?
Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate it. I'm coming to your show. I'm not on it, but I'm coming.
Hell yeah, it's going to be sick. Yeah, tell these people at abbaswahab.com. Keep staying on
It's on my
bro.
calendar.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, first of all, you're not just funny. You got a crazy singing voice, which blew my mind. First of all, you did a show. What's your show called again?
It's called the Variety Hour.
The Variety Hour. You do it at the 3 Esplanade or something like
54. Yeah, it's
near
called
Front Street.
Cathedral now.
There you go. In Toronto. Great show. Check this by now. But crazy singing chops, bro. I was back there like, yo, we were watching the show. This dude was singing. I'm like, did you sing before you did comedy?
Yeah. I've been singing since I was like 10, 11.
Yeah, because the way you were singing, I'm like, damn, this guy's talented, bro. This guy's a threat. We're all back there like, this guy's a threat. We're scheming and shit,
Is
bro.
that what was happening back
No,
then?
no, everyone, dude, I remember everyone was like, people almost didn't want to acknowledge it. You know how comics are?
Yeah.
It'd be like, you know, comics for sometimes it feels like it's really like pulling teeth to give a compliment.
Well, yeah, it's like you go up to someone, you're like, he's really good, right? It's like, yeah, he's all right.
Exactly. I literally said that. I'm like, dude, this guy's amazing. And people were like, maybe they're thinking about their own set, but whatever. But I came up to you right after. I was like,
Yeah, you did, man.
you were bro, like truly, objectively. Like if you were the singer and you didn't do any comedy, you'd be like, damn, that guy, who was that guy? You know?
I appreciate that, man. And thank you for doing my show.
Yeah, bro, I had a blast. What do you mean? It was great.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, we're doing some of the same, like, your show has a similar theme to mine in terms of, like, the lineup and, because yours is called Forced Diversity, right?
Forced Diversity show.
Yeah, mine's, like, similar. I just, you remember how I opened the show, right? As, like, there's, like, 8 people on
I was
this.
a little late. But
Oh, yeah. No, I opened it because I booked Justin Shaw, who's, like, a friend of mine. Like, we've been homies for, like we started, like, well, no, when I started comedy, he was, like, one of the first dudes to be, like, nice to me.
Got it.
So,
Which is the thing for those of you who are not in comedy. When you first start comedy, no one is nice to you.
Yeah.
And the few that are, you never forget, you know?
Yeah, well, it's you know, I've lived like you went to Waterloo too, so you know we lived in like a different city every 4 months for like 5
Co-op,
years,
yep.
right? And so like I was like London, Ontario, then Vancouver, then Toronto, then Kitchener-Waterloo, then Cupertino, then back to Kitchener-Waterloo, then back to Cupertino. Like so I kind of was in a new scene every 4 to 6 months. And, you know, you kind of get used to the idea, like as an immigrant too, like everywhere you go, people are like, oh, you have to prove yourself. You know, like I have jokes about this where like people expect you to prove that you can speak English just to get into the country. But we've all been speaking English since we were like 4.
Yeah. It's like I got the degree, yo. It's
Yeah. And they like I had to take the test of English as a foreign language after I graduated. And it's like, after you graduate?
Yeah, at Waterloo, we did that at the beginning, I remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And we had like English courses that we had to take.
Dude, I remember my buddy Tasia, you just have to pass it.
Yeah.
My buddy Tasia gets a 70 on it. He's like, his whole life is like a 90 student, right?
Yeah.
He gets a 70 on that English test. He goes, fuck it, I'm taking it again. He takes it again, he fails it. But he already passed it, so he's good to go. But yo, we fucking crushed him on that.
But it's like you kind of get irritated eventually. It's like, how many times are you going to ask me to prove myself? You know, like for English, it's like you take it when you first come here, then you take those like English courses in university, and then after you graduate, you apply for permanent residence. They make you take the same test again.
It feels like the COVID test bullshit right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just took a flight where you had to be a negative result to get on. I'm on there, negative result, vaccinated. They'd be like, put your mask back on. put your mask back on the flight. I'm like,
Right.
we're all negative. I land. They're like, sir, you've been randomly selected for COVID screening. I'm like, fuck. I feel like fucking English test right now, dude.
There's like a comic. His name's like Rahul Dua. It's like an Indian comic.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was about to get on a flight, and they were like, "Where's your proof of a negative test?" And he's like, "I have vaccine passport." And they were like, "But where's your proof of test?" And he's like, "No, you're still on version 1.0 of this shit." Like, like,
exactly. Oh my God. I had to show a negative result and vaccinated and mask still on.
Yeah.
And I did a joke about it, and some people were like, the people are still like, you could have got COVID right before the flight. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Don't you ever want this? Like, when do the masks go away? That's the question. When do the masks go away?
I think the masks are here to stay for a while. I think everything else might go away. The restrictions might go away a little.
See, I get masks on I get masks on a plane. Just don't tell me about COVID or whatever. Just, okay, require masks on a plane. That pisses me off, especially after I had a negative result. But I don't want masks in any open air shit. I don't want masks in any like place where it's not a big grouping of people. Like it's a concert or some shit. Like that's crazy. But the idea of a mask in a concert makes more sense to me than like masks in a classroom or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know when they're going to get rid of the masks. I think it's more like, at this point, it's more of like a social, like it makes people feel okay.
Safer, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it, dude. It's so stupid, man. We're done. Like, let's stop with the mask. People are 3 booster shots in. The numbers. What are we doing with the mask? Anyways, fuck it. Anyways, forget about that. It's all about you today, my dude. So, when did you move? Did you move to Canada? Because now we just talked right before you came here. You had a California. We had a similar type of like get up.
Right.
Waterloo, California stint.
Yeah.
Back here in Toronto.
Yeah, and we're both using our degree the exact same way too.
Are you working at all?
Yeah. I do software development during the day as long as I have to. Like I'll probably quit at some point when I can.
That's another thing that really impresses the hell out of me. Because did you do software engineering? What was your degree?
Computer science.
Computer science. You're in the EC department?
I think I was in the math department.
Oh, I was thinking computer engineering.
Yeah, I started
You're at
in
MC, huh?
Yeah, I started in Tron actually. So I was in mechatronics.
Yeah,
and
hell
I was
yeah.
like, and I just switched to computer science.
Yeah, you're smart. You know, when I went to Waterloo, I went for nanotechnology engineering.
Right.
Which is like the dumbest thing you can do possible. Like if for any non-engineer, they're like, whoa! For every engineer, they're like, where are you working? Where's that applied on an undergraduate level? You know?
Both my roommates. So you were telling people that I play music, right? Like, so I was in a band when I was in university. And two of my bandmates were in nanotechnology engineering. And then
What year were you?
I was
Class of...
I was class of 2020. It would have been 2019, but I took an extra year.
Gotcha. Okay, so you just finished.
Yeah, I graduated in April.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I don't know these guys, but so you were in a band with them?
Yeah, so they were like, 2 of them were nanotechnology engineering guys, and one of them was like a physics guy. And we were like, we're like the nerdiest band ever, bro.
Was that the name of your band?
No,
we were
called. When we started, we were called Jaded Students.
Okay, it's still kind of.
And then we were like, we're not going to be students for very long. This name has no longevity, you know. And then we
Jaded Studs. We dropped the ints.
And then we started calling ourselves Little Berlin. Because
it's artsy.
Well, Kitchener used to be called Berlin. Did you know this?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But that makes sense because a lot of people don't know this. But Kitchener has the biggest Oktoberfest celebration outside of Germany.
Right. It's also like the remnants of colonization are all around us, and we just like don't notice, right? Like half of the names around Kitchener-Waterloo of like cities and streets.
London, Windsor.
Yeah, you know, and there's a Winston Churchill Avenue, which like every time I drive by I get like mixed feelings, you know, because I'm pretty sure we tried to remove you at one point.
Winston Churchill, dude. What was his famous quotes? He was like a notorious alcoholic, right? Actually, all those old Brits were essentially, right?
Yeah, well, he's just like this conflicting character.
He's like, show me a man feet. He's one of those old fat British guys who's like, you give a man a fish, you feed him once. And bring a man to the sea, you teach him how to fish. It's like, yeah, you're drunk as fuck right now. You can't stand. Bring a man to the fish. Like,
yeah. Well, he's also like one of those like conflicting characters. By the way, like this is the weird thing about now is like people are expecting all of their heroes to be like perfect.
Oh, by current standards.
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense because we've only ever had flawed heroes. You know, like people complain that Gandhi was racist, and you're like, it was 1947. Who wasn't?
I
Like,
know, right? And the Gandhi's whole thing apparently is that he was a misogynist.
Yeah.
They're Me Tooing him in perpetuity, right?
And I was like, but Burr had a joke about that, right? Where they were like, why are we canceling dead people? God canceled them like a long time ago.
Yeah, like why are there still Michael Jackson trials? It's over. Let the motherfucker die. He's literally in the grave like, come on. Like, come on.
Yeah, like,
Dude. So you actually came here a lot sooner than I would have thought. And you were doing the art thing the whole time while you were in school.
pretty much.
That's
yeah.
clutch. So when did you come here? Do you move from India or where?
Yeah, I moved from Delhi,
Okay. What year?
2014, August.
On a scholarship?
Well, I had a scholarship for the first year. I don't know if Waterloo does full scholarships, but I had like
I didn't have a full
They
scholarship,
gave me like 10, 15 grand or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah. What was the high level school there? IIT or what's it called in India?
Indian Institute of Technology.
Yo, that's the shit. I remember back in Waterloo, we'd be like, yo, we had a guy, Vivek something, one of our profs, and we'd be looking at his things like, yo, IIT masters. We're like, oh shit, IIT. This is like the top school there, huh?
Yeah, and when the competition is real, man, because here it's like, well, the population is way less dense, right? There's way less people here.
Literally by like orders of magnitude.
Yeah, and there's the more more education in terms of like there's more universities here. Like the IITs are like the best.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, IITs are like the best institute.
That's the MIT of India, right?
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And there's like maybe 17 of them, something like that.
Oh.
Across the country.
Just to service the fucking billion plus
in different
population.
cities, right?
Yeah.
But there's like more people and less spots to get quality education. So the competition for those spots is real. Like I think there's cutoffs, right? Like I don't know how you guys do things here, but pretty much we give these like 12th grade board exams.
Yes.
And whatever our like final percentage is like used in a lot of these institutions as like
you're ranked essentially.
as your SAT score. And there's like other universities that do like their own testing, but a lot of universities just use whatever you got in 12th grade. And the competition is so real, like the cutoff percentage to get into some of the top universities was like damn near like 96%.
No way.
Like the year I graduated, and it's even higher now. And there's all these quotas, right? Like OBC, like observed caste and stuff like that they have to fill.
Like darker people?
Yeah, exactly,
Gotcha.
right? Like people that come from like more underprivileged communities.
Yes.
And they get like a certain amount of, like they get a certain percentage added to their score to...
Gotcha. Like it shifts the curve, so to speak, to put more of them in seats.
But that means that if you're just like the general class, your percentage has to be
You got to be
higher.
99%.
Yeah. And so I literally like
This is what white people complain about here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, why does that black guy come in with a 75? I'm a thoroughbred with an 85. Yeah. They're like, he's from an underprivileged community, Skylar.
And literally no joke, the year that I came here for Waterloo, the like passing percentage for certain people to get into university, to the top universities, was 100%.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah. And I was like, you understand?
Like, this is why. Is there like a suicide issue in India with like? I'm serious because I remember when I learned about IIT, and I remember reading this. I watched a little documentary of like a guy who's like 18 with his parents. He's like, the exams are coming, so now we study 8 hours, 7 hours a day, and he's like prepping for these standardized exams. And it's like they're all waiting to hear the scores, and the family's like being, because like. The idea is if you get into this school, you will kind of secure your future, secure their future, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, Jesus, are these people like killing themselves and shit, dude?
Oh yeah, like left, right, and center. There's like there's coaching institutions that coach you specifically just to take the test. Like you guys have like SAT prep. Like,
yeah, we have stuff called Kumon and shit. But
yeah.
these are for like, if you're not even there, they're just trying to bring you to an average.
Yeah, there was all sorts of stuff that we were doing after. Like we came out of high school, like so the schedule used to be like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. you're in school, and then you come out, and at 5 p.m. you go. Like the word tuition here means like the kind of money you pay to a university, right?
Correct.
In India, it's called tuition, and it's not money you pay. tuition is the word they use for coaching classes where they're teaching and reteaching you what you like. They're reiterating what you just learned in high school. So you come out at like 3 p.m. You go to a different class that's not sponsored.
Just to hammer this shit down.
Yeah, and to because it's that competitive. So you're like relearning. You're doing like test prep. You're literally paying somebody outside of your high school education to educate you more. And they'll teach you how to take there's an institution that'll teach you to take
like
the
exam strategy.
Yeah,
essentially.
they'll teach you the IIT tests. You'll do SAT prep. You'll do SAT 2 prep. Because the year I graduated, I applied to like Indian institutions, but I also applied to like Singaporean institutions, Hong Kong institutions, the U.S. and Canada.
Everywhere.
Right. So I took every standardized test there is that year. Like I took I took the SATs. I took like AP exams. I took the SAT 2s. I took the test of English as a foreign language. I took all of my board exams, and then I took the standardized tests for the Indian institutions. I think I took like 19 tests over the course of like 2 months.
Oh my God, dude. And is it like 80% the same thing or a whole new set of like covered material?
So some are more advanced.
Yeah.
And some are like, so the IIT exams are actually more.
For all the Canadians listening to this, by the way, don't ever fucking complain again. All you high school cats, listen to this motherfucker. Well, this is why you sing beautifully, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, well, no. I'm doing so many tests. I need to release my outlet somehow.
Well, my first 2 years.
This is the only way you're not dead right now, by the way, is singing.
And my first 2 years in university too, like white people were really mad at me because I never studied. Ever.
You're like, I did this 6 years ago.
Yeah, like I would come home, like to the like apartment that we were living in, and both of my roommates were white, and they would be like learning calculus, like first year calculus, second year calculus, and I would do my homework like an hour before the deadline. Like I studied like not at all first year of university, and they got mad at me. Like they actually confronted me.
That's
They're like,
so funny.
What are you doing? Are you cheating? I was like, no, I did this in 10th grade. I know. Like one time the professor just like offhand was like, anybody know the equation for this? And I kind of just yelled it out, and he wasn't expecting it. He was like, this whole class was going to be about me deriving this equation. I just offhand asked the question, and you just like ruined my next half hour's plan.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. Well, it's like, well, you're still gonna derive it. Let's be honest. Yeah. It's not like, well, yeah, he's right. Well, class dismissed. Yeah,
no. They're like, well, let's do it anyway.
I'm still gonna derive it regardless of the fact. And you're like, how do you know? It's like, well, I put it on 12 different tests. I wrote it. I derived it for 16 different exams. So I'll never forget it.
He's right. Does anybody see how he got there? As like, I don't even remember how I got there. Bro.
Right. I just remember it.
Yeah,
dude, that's fucking wild. So, did you get into everything, or did you apply to IIT?
I applied and I didn't take the test.
Okay, so is that like would they ever accept you without taking the test?
No, I took. I was taking the 2 years of test prep.
Yeah.
But then before I went to take the test, my acceptances from Waterloo and like
they all came in.
Yeah, and I was like,
so you started singing, boy. Give me some singing right there.
Like,
I'm in.
I was like, fuck it, no more tests. I don't.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Clutch. And Waterloo is world renowned.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially considering that, like, I actually would imagine that it's easier to get employed in like international conglomerates, like, let's say Apple, Facebook, etc., with a Waterloo than an IIT.
Oh yeah, well at least in
because Waterloo feeds Silicon Valley more than any other school, and a lot of people don't know
that. At least the undergrad degrees.
Yeah, the undergrad.
If you come out of like an IIT with like a master's degree, I'm pretty sure those people are making bank. Like they migrate to like America immediately.
You get an H-1B with graduation, right?
Yeah, but that's like weird too. Like the H1, like I'm an immigrant, so like I could talk for hours about just like visa processes for different countries. But America, the wait for an Indian, in terms of like going from like,
because it's relative to where you're born.
Yeah,
and they have a lot of intellectual Indians in America.
Yeah, and well, there's 1.4 billion of us, So like Veer Das had a joke where he was like, not all Indians are smart. It's just that you only ever met the smart ones.
Yeah.
They're
all, the other ones are all back there.
There are just more smart Indians because there are more Indians. And but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah,
just the visa process. Like I came in to the States, so you came to Waterloo.
Yeah.
You got a computer science degree. And you did a bunch of co-ops. You did the whole Cupertino thing, which, by the way, the final co-ops of like Waterloo, everyone is going to California.
That was one of the reasons I picked Waterloo, was because it made a real dent in my tuition. That I graduated debt-free, thankfully. Like, my family supported me the first 2 years by like paying tuition for me.
Because you paid double.
Yeah, more than double, like a lot.
It was actually almost exactly double, because I had a buddy coming from Tanzania, and my I remember my tuition was $12 a year. And his was $24.5. So it was almost exactly double mine as an international.
Oh, see, and the other thing too, though, is like every year they will send out an email saying they're like raising the tuition for international students by exactly 9.8%. I don't know where they picked that number.
Legally, they probably cannot cross the 10% thing.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
It's something like that, right? And that email, man, it's something like, it's so weird because because it's an email from the university, and the email goes, "We recognize the enormous value of a degree from the University of Waterloo, and we're raising the." I was like, that's like me putting my mom as a referral on my resume. You know, like you can't recognize yourself.
Oh my God, that's how they gotta open it up. Once they say that shit, you know you're about to get
fucked. Students went on strike one year, and they were like, "You're not raising the international tuition anymore because we're already paying damn near 3 times, and why would we do this?" And that was the only year that they didn't raise the tuition, when the students went on strike. The next year they did it again.
That goes to show, man. Power to the people, you know, strength in numbers. They're like, oh, fuck, okay, don't do it. It's just a money grab, and it was exposed right there.
Oh, yeah. And that's the one frustration, like when protests happen, you know, there's always somebody like, oh, it's just protests don't do anything. It's like, no, they work. You know, that's the... you know, when BLM was happening here too, when the George Floyd stuff was happening in the U.S., like we were doing BLM.
Well, think about it. That cop that killed Floyd, they put that guy away for like life, or they gave him decades or some shit. So like that normally wouldn't have ever happened.
Yeah.
It would have never happened.
Yeah. I was in Kitchener when the Kitchener BLM protest was happening, and I went there, and man, I have never seen so many white people. Which is weird.
Yeah, it's Kitchener, bro. What do you mean?
Right? But
it's not Waterloo, it's Kitchener.
Yeah, but it's BLM protest Kitchener, right? And it's like, okay, so you got to imagine Kitchener is like 80% white people.
Probably.
Right? So it's like, can you imagine... Like, I didn't even know Kitchener had that many white people until that day. But I started thinking about it, and I was like, can you imagine if this is the number of people that showed up to the protest in support, how many racist people there actually are in Kitchener that didn't show up?
The other ones?
Yeah.
Whoever's left. He's like, yeah, some guy's just at work, like he has the shirt Black Lives Matter. It's like, I couldn't make it, but I got the shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got the shirt.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is like smack dab in the middle of the pandemic too, right? So like
that's why it had crazy attendance, because people are like, it's a thing to do.
Yeah, but also comedy had been like dead for like 6 months, right? I had not gotten on stage in like 6-7 months, not seen a microphone, not talked to people. And I got to this protest, and suddenly there's like a throng of people, and there's this like one person like that's like starting the march and the protest, and he has a microphone. It's like, damn, I wish I could tell some jokes right now.
That's hilarious. You're like, can I borrow that mic? What's happening in the States is terrible. Woo!
Yeah, I went to the BLM protest like, who books this? Spot!
They're like, send a tape, please.
Yeah.
Send a tape. Let's see your bio. You're like, I have stood up for 7 black people. Okay, all right. This guy's next. Bullet. But man, when you went to San Francisco, did you do stand up there?
Yeah, well, not when I was working there, because I don't think I'd started stand-up yet. I started like in their open mic scene in San Jose. It was the first time I ever did stand-up.
Okay.
But I went back to San Francisco on my tour these last 3 months when I was like in LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple of the clubs, and it was cool. Like San Francisco is
one of the more accepting comedy cities that I've been to, because I went there and I think I had a good set one of the nights, and somebody at the club asked me, they were like, how many nights are you here, and are you booked all of the nights? And I was like, no, I'm actually looking for more places. And they're like, we'll book you every night that you don't currently have a booking. There's a lot going on in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I worked there for like in 2017. I had like some job at some startup there. Mm-hmm. And that's really where I got my teeth into stand-up, was like that scene. Very similar to Toronto, reminds me, just like the number of shows happening at night,
right?
The way it works with Punchline that's over there in Cobb's, that type of style. But like, I love the scene over there. And still, shout out to, you know, you're saying Justin Shaw, shout out to Stroy Moyd. I don't know if you heard, you ran into him.
No, he's the dude
Hella funny.
Yeah, he's the dude that booked me.
There you go. He did it, yo, right there, yo. Shout out to Straw and Maud right there. If you're watching San Francisco, we salute you, sir. He booked hella funny. They run 1 million shows down
Thank
there.
you for booking me 6 times at Neck of the Woods the week I was there.
Neck of the Woods. Neck of the Woods. Did you run into Ahmed Abdurrahman?
No, I didn't.
Amir Abdul Rahman, they'll say.
Oh shit! No, don't say that. No, I didn't run into
Did you hear
him.
his name though?
Yeah, I did. I did hear his
Phil
name.
Woods? Did you run into him?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
I met-
What's his name? Something Hooker? Allison Hooker?
Yeah, she was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were all people that were there the nights that I was doing Neck of the Woods. And it was great. That was the first time I ever had a family member come out to a show, because I'm like pretty conservative about inviting family out to comedy shows, because like it's blue, it's dirty, it's
Gotcha,
like body.
Yeah.
But my family's like starting to get on board with it now that like I've actually done shows where I started to get paid. I've done like slightly bigger theaters.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
They're starting to understand that it's not just like something
A pipe dream.
Yeah.
Or a hobby, so to speak.
Yeah, and but my sister is a medical professional. Like she has her master's degree. I think she already has her PhD. She's going into medicine.
Like she's in California. She's the one who came out?
Yeah, and I say sister. She's my cousin.
Gotcha, yeah.
But it's,
Either way, I wasn't gonna pick into the details.
Well,
you know what I
we're
mean? Yeah.
Indian.
We're immigrants. Yeah,
It is a
it's like, it
sister.
could, when you say uncle or sister, it could be like zero affiliation.
Yeah. An uncle is just an elder you kind of sort of are supposed to respect.
That you know that your parent has a relationship with, and you can't question what that relationship is.
Exactly. Like we go by feelings of relationships more than by the actual technical name of the relationship.
Yeah, no one's asking to see a family tree,
Yeah.
right? Uncle who? Let's see.
Like we had a caretaker growing up that would like wake me up and we would like play cricket before I went to school, and I called him, it was a dude, I called him my aunt for like 12 years.
And he's getting paid, so he never corrected you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it, yeah. Yes,
He's like, fuck
Ashwyn.
it, I'm an aunt.
Yeah. Yes, click. But your sister came out, did she, or your cousin, she fuck with it? She liked it?
Yeah, exactly. And I did like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and she came out, and I was actually nervous about her seeing my comedy, because it was like, because she grew up in America, and I have this like weird thing about like, I'm Indian, and I developed this accent, right? This is not how I spoke when I first came here. Like I still have my, like if I'm talking to my parents, I'll go right back to,
Of course.
I'll go right back to talking with my accent.
Of course.
And
My
I don't
buddy Umar
actually,
was the same thing.
yeah, and I don't actually mind talking in this accent. It's actually the way I spoke growing up, right? And then my landlady will come down the stairs, and I'll like immediately switch. Yeah, it's like, and
Susan, yeah, there's a problem with the fridge. She's like, there is? No, I just wanted to talk to you with this voice.
yeah, just code switching the whole way.
Susan.
And
That's what we do, bro. We survive. My buddy Umar used to talk to his mom and be like, yo, okay, one sec, guys, one sec. Huh, mama? No, mama, it's the exams, mama, they're coming together, mama, but we'll see. No, mama, I paid it, and inshallah we will see soon. Okay. All right, that was it. You know, you quiet. And
yeah, but so when I like started comedy in this accent in this country, it was weird because I was like, I know my jokes are social commentary and the topics are like things that people here will understand, but my sensibility is Indian, right? Like the way I think.
But that's what makes you good. That's what makes your act different.
Yeah, but I was and like immigrants and people of color, like we understand like roasting and the idea that if I'm trying to insult you, it's because I like you. Like
endearing. It's endearing.
Like we express affection through insult.
Yes.
You know, it's like you should be concerned you should only be concerned if I'm not making fun of you. That means I really don't like you.
Yeah, no eye contact.
Yeah, you know,
okay,
it's like, oh my God, look who's here.
It's like, okay, good. He didn't talk to me or acknowledge me at all.
Yeah.
Good. It's like, that's not good.
Yeah,
That's not a good
Be
thing.
worried if I'm being nice to you, you know? So
Fuck, bro. You've been a class act with me. Fuck.
yeah, man,
It's turning around.
You've been so lovely, bro.
Yo,
It's
fucking prick. Yo, this guy just jumped over the table. Motherfucker. Did you like it down there in California?
I did.
Do you prefer Canada over America or America over Canada?
They're exactly the same to me.
I love being Canadian, all that, disclaimer. But man, in the future, I see myself living in America way more. I spent 3 years in America.
Oh, yeah?
In Michigan and California.
Right.
Oh, bro, just the freedom of like, you know what it is? You know what it is? Here's the difference.
The freedom.
Yeah, here's the difference. It's like here in Canada, if you want to get alcohol, you got to go LCB or a beer store.
Right.
If you want to get fireworks, you got to wait till like the 2 or 3 days a year.
Right.
Victoria Day, Canada, all this shit. What I love about America is that every gas station has everything.
Right.
Every place near you has all the things. They don't close at 11. Some of them are like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, especially from the point of view of business.
Mm-hmm.
There's way less red tape between you and your dreams in America. Way less red tape.
Yeah. No,
Here
that's
in
fair.
Canada, it's like, oh, do this. You got to have that. Oh, you're going to have to get a permit for this. Blah, blah. Everything is red tape all
Right.
day.
Yeah, you're right about that. In terms of like like how much
if
they
you
reward entrepreneurialism. Yeah.
You want to be in America. But if you're broke, if you're poor, you want to be in Canada.
Yeah.
Right?
I just get like weirded out when people are like, oh, like, how do you feel? Like, do you think the people in Toronto are different from the people in New York? You know, they'll be like, oh, like New York is ruder. I'm like, maybe there are like some like subtle differences between Canadians and Americans to a Canadian and to an American. But to somebody that came from like the other side of the world,
You're all the same.
You're all the same white people.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. 100%.
you all walk down the street.
New
like-
York, there's a higher pace. That's pretty much the difference.
Yeah. And you all do the same thing where you go, how's it going? And then you never wait for an answer and you keep walking, you know?
Yeah. It's just the silence is very uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing I liked about the South, too. I've said this a lot of times where it's like, if someone doesn't like you in the South, they fucking just are just grilling you. And they just, whereas in the North, Michigan, they're just fake
Right.
smiles. You know, I like people showing their true colors. Even
Yeah.
if you don't like me, I'd rather you being like, I
Yeah.
don't like you.
I like-
you know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah.
you prefer that rather than just having some latent racism?
Oh,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like, I'm like confrontational in that same way, too. Like, I'm just like, look,
I prefer that.
yeah. Like, you know, a lot of like political correctness right now is like, oh, like don't say the wrong thing. And I'm like, but I want to know who the dumb people are. You know, if they don't say it, how will I find out?
The way political correctness is so like amped up right now is the reason our comedy shows are selling out, right? Because it's
they're
getting
like,
to a
we-
ridiculous
Yeah,
level.
they're like, we need to go somewhere where people are like messing up
we
in
need to
what
go to,
they're saying.
Exactly. We need to go to the safe space, which is
Right.
ironically the least safe according to
Right.
fucking politically.
Well, you
safe.
know how like when we had like prohibition on alcohol, we had like speakeasies.
Yeah,
right.
just fucking pet stores.
So now we have like a prohibition on words, sort of.
So it's speakeasies
and
are
so
just
comedy
comedy.
clubs are the speakeasies that like for political correctness. Like that's where you go to hear people say like the wrong thing in an effort to figure out what the right thing to say is.
Yeah, a lot of, well, not even necessarily, but yeah, we'll say that, but not even in with the goal of saying the right thing.
Right.
But just with the goal of like, let's drop all the bullshit.
Right.
And let's just laugh. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want to go to a place and I want to hear someone make a joke and say retarded. You know? People want that deep down. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not calling anyone retarded, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not like, oh, say the word or whatever. But it's just like, whenever you say retarded on stage, it's so
Right.
funny because it kills every time. Even people that don't want to laugh at it laugh and then go, ah. And I'm not like saying it constantly because it's
Right.
low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
But in my act, I may say it one time.
Yeah.
But it's funny that thing that you would be in the office like, no.
Yeah.
Which just takes me back to the fact that I'm blown away and impressed that you've been able to maintain your job with the midst of all this comedy and all that stuff.
So far,
And
yeah.
So far. And I'm assuming, and this is none of my business, but I'm assuming, do you send money home or are you just self-sufficient here?
Right now, I don't. I'm self-sufficient enough that I don't have to ask for money from anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a position right now to be like helping other people. But I do have the mindset of like we come from the kinds of culture where you take care of the people that you care about. You know, like I'll go to Montreal and I'll have cousins that insist that I stay with them. You know, that's part of the culture. So if I one day get to the place where I have like an extra bedroom, money to spare, that money's going to people I care about.
Yeah, it's the immigrant thing flipped, you know? I grew up with all my friends having allowances. The second I turned 15, my mom was like, you're going to give me $100 every week from this paycheck. I've been giving my mom an allowance since I was 15. I've paid for cars. I own the house that like, not to brag or anything, that, you know, like all the money came from the past thing, but like,
Right.
I was put in a situation where like the family home, I was the only one that could get a mortgage, all that stuff. But like, it's flipped for immigrants, right?
Right.
It's like, I assume until I'm told otherwise that you're sending money home.
Right. Do
You
you
know
have
what I mean?
do you have a day job too?
I don't have a day job.
When did you quit, or did you never have
In
a day job?
2017. Oh, when I was in the United States for 3 years, I was a program manager, and then I was an operations program manager for the tech company.
Nice.
And then when I came back here, I was a product manager for just that long enough so I can get EI.
Right.
But I've been pretty much like, I've been of the mindset that like, because I was like you in school, you know what I mean? And not to your level. I got to say that. It flipped for the first couple of years. I was like, yeah, you know, I got to go hard and get good marks. But then I had no heart in the engineering degree.
Right.
And I couldn't be honest with myself. I had to graduate, do engineering, and then be like, okay, and then I found stand-up.
Right.
Because I've always loved stand-up, but I didn't think I could do
Yeah.
it. But like, as soon as I stopped, I was like, man, I know I'm a procrastinator, and I'm never gonna make this work unless there's a fire under my ass. Until I'm gonna leverage necessity to make this
Right.
work.
So you quit.
So I quit, and it's financially, it's like been a struggle since I've quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was like, 6 figures floating, how it goes, right?
Yeah.
But like, life's way better now. But I'm not telling you to quit or do your thing. You know your own thing, and especially you. I feel like you're a smart dude. You've probably automated half the shit you need to do.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, it's on the docket. It's just not there yet. So like with immigrants, here's the like difference, right? Like we were always like sort of taught to like play your cards right. Like don't
Play it safe, be secure.
Yeah, don't think like 3 levels from right now. Think 1 level from right now. Like don't go like 5-year plan. Just look at the cards you were dealt and go, this is the strategically the best option for me right now. Right? That's the way we were sort of programmed to think, like not to have like dreams and shit. Right? But people here, they do this thing where they flip that, because they don't go, what's the next step? They think this is what I want from life, and then they like plan their way backwards to like
Reverse engineer.
yeah, like they've been taught to believe, and in a good way,
Anything's
that
possible.
there is a way to get what you want, right? So like now I'm starting to get there, but I still have that like conservative approach of like, I'm not just gonna quit like for pressure's sake, but now I'm thinking, okay, so if I do like 5 shows a month that I'm producing and they all sell out, and this is how much money I'm making from them, then I can pay rent and food and have a little bit left over,
Just
and
do
then
the
I can
basic
quit,
budgeting of it.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, don't quit without a plan.
Yes. No, absolutely. Like when I quit, I had EI.
Yeah.
So I had like a 6-month runway.
Right.
And then it was like acting. Okay, acting, I can make this work. And in the years, I've become a union actor, and like I've made a lot of things work, and it's still a struggle making it work. But it's like this fucking life is like a quest now.
But
know
you're
what I mean?
making it work. Yeah.
I'm making it work. I'm getting by. It's not pretty. You know what I mean? Like when I was 25, I make 10 times what I'm making right now. 5 years ago, right? And that fucks with me sometimes for a second. And then I remember every day when I wake up now, it's a totally different feeling than what it was back then.
Yeah, well,
So,
and money was never what it was about, you know?
for me, money is exactly what it was about.
Oh, yeah?
So I was an immigrant. My dad, we came to Canada with 6 children. My dad, master's degree, MBA from like Holland, Sudani. Canada was like, fuck your degree, get in the cab.
Right.
So my dad drove a cab for 15, 20 years, like pinching pennies. Always he instilled that fear of money in me. So I was like, I gotta get a thing. I got it. Money.
Right.
Then I did it all, and I was fucking depressed, bro. I had an existential crisis, and I
Yeah.
was like, this isn't worth it. It's my life. This isn't worth it. I did all the things. You sold me on your dream, and I did it.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah. But like you quit because you sort of like realized
Because I started doing stand-up for a year while being in the office and being like, I can't do this thing anymore.
That's kind of my thing too, is like it was okay for me to be like going to work every day and working like hard when I didn't really know what I wanted out of life. It was okay.
Of course, that's the case for everybody, right?
Right? Yeah, it was okay. But the day the day I was like, oh, I know what I want to do with my life. I kind of found the thing I love to do. That day, that same work that I was doing every day became a grind.
Yeah.
Because now I'm spending every second thinking I could be doing something that I love, right? And that's the day I started planning, hey, like how can I like put myself in a position where I have enough opportunities that I don't have to do this anymore. And
You're playing it smart.
Yeah, it's
I
coming.
look back, I look at the hours I put in a week to get the money I need. And even though it's a fraction of what a full-time job is, it's a big enough fraction that it justifies having a full-time
Yeah.
job. So in my mind, I'm like, I could technically, I just can't. My heart, I can't do it. I've had job interviews in my low points. I can't get a job anymore.
Right.
Because like they can smell it on me.
Right.
They can smell it on me. We're not going to keep this guy over 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to be like that soon.
Bro, they're going to be able to. How are you now in your office? I got to know. Like, the last job I had, I fucking kept it a secret as long as possible. I do comedy.
Yeah.
Because the second they found out this shit was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Do they all know you sing and do comedy and are
They know.
talented as fuck?
Oh yeah, well I performed for them at their Christmas party last year, so they know.
Did they pay you as a performer? Oh, they're like, oh god, but whatever, fuck it. You got the stage time in front of them to start getting used to what a corporate gig will feel
Yeah.
like. So
well,
fuck
at
it.
least nobody work can be like, oh, you're a musician. What is that about? I'm like, you
showed
used
them.
my musical talents for you as
Yeah.
well, right? So at least that's. But no, they do know, and we've run into some. Like, I'll go to Montreal for a week and they're like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm still in Canada. Like I'm starting to wonder like how much of my life I actually have to share with the workplace. And I'm not sure.
COVID has really brought that whole question into consideration.
Yeah.
Do they let you work from home?
Yeah.
You could probably do your whole job from home.
Yeah,
right?
I work remotely.
Yeah. So you at least are working from home, which is a big step away from being in an office 40 hours a week.
I'm starting to realize like how much of that like mentality, like that competitive mentality, but not competitive in a good way. You know, where like, it's like, like you're good, I'm good, let's learn from each other. When like we'll celebrate your wins and we'll celebrate my wins and we grow together. Not that competition. The rat race competition of like there's 1.4 billion people, one university, and everybody's vying for that same spot. You know, and you're all like trying to pull each other down. That creeps into work, and then that creeps in from work into like art, and that's where I draw the line. I'm like, I do not want to be like that. Like I'm trying to get away from that, you know? So like after like the last time I was really able to like work hard just to prove myself to somebody else was back when I was still trying to get into university, doing those standardized tests. That was the last time that I felt okay about having to work that hard just to like
To appease.
to show somebody else that I was worth it. After that, even in university, I was like, C's get degrees. That was my mentality.
Yeah.
And because I was like, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to prove to you that I'm good. But now that I do comedy, every time you go to a different city, it's something like the part about it that's similar is like every city goes, a comic has to prove themselves. You know, you have to prove yourself to that community. And it's like, yes, but also I might have proven myself to some other community in some other country, in some other language, in some other art form, you know, just like give me a chance, you know? And so every time like, and because we did so many different cities, like every 4 months, it's like, why are you letting that rat race, like prove yourself mentality creep into art?
Yeah.
This is art, you know?
Because you know why? Because when they got in, they experienced it.
Yeah.
And people, it's cyclical. It's like I was in the Naval Reserves for a little bit. Right after I graduated high school early, I joined the Naval Reserves to save money for university.
Right.
And when I was in boot camp, there's some sergeants who are like, get down. Why are you not marching? Why are you not blah, 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 blah. Like all that bullshit on, because they got it.
Yeah.
They got it. So they're like, this is how it was for me. This is how it's going to be for you. But then there's guys who got it and are clearly like, they'll be like, look, just, it's a game, all right? Play the game. You'll make it through this. It's 8 weeks. They're going to yell. That's how it was. They actually speak to you eye to eye. Even though they got the shit, they can break the cycle of being like, look, this is what's happening. But it's the same thing with this thing where like, even in San Francisco, Stroy Moy was the first guy. I still remember the first week I was there. He fucking like wrote. He was the first club I ever did was Cobb, San Francisco, Stroy Moy, 2017.
Shout out to Stroy Moy, man.
Shout out to him. How embarrassing this. I'll never forget this. I came in the green room at Cobb's. Oh God, it still makes a fucking like shiver run down my spine when I think about it. I came into the green room at Cobb's and there was 3 other comics, and I went up to the headliner, who I didn't know was a headliner, and I was like, "You're on the show too?"
Did you bomb?
No, I had like a 6 out of 10 set. You know what I mean? I didn't bomb, but the host was right there with the headliner.
Yeah.
He's like, we can get him off the show if you want. You know? Like as a joke. But I was so fucking embarrassed, bro. Till this day, I think, can imagine me like, you on the show too? Like you're doing 5 off the top.
Yeah, we've had that. I've had, definitely. We've all had that happen. But like what I think you and I agree on is like we have a lot of respect for people that like pulled us up from the bootstraps. You know, they were successful, or at least they were further ahead than us, and they decided to give us the opportunity. And we didn't really even know what to do with the opportunity. You know, like we got on stage.
Just take it. That's it.
We weren't ready.
No.
You know, and like not in the least. But they were like, you need to get a taste of what this looks like when you are ready, so you know what you're working for. And they put us up. You know, like
Shout out
I
to
was.
that dude, man.
Shout out to Stroy. He did that for me in San Francisco.
He Here's the thing. Here's how it goes. Once you get in the game, if you're early in the game, you're still easily threatened, right?
Yeah.
So when new guys come in the game, and I have a show, and this guy just appeared in the scene, even if he kills, I don't know. I don't know about that. It might have been a fluke. I don't know his thing. I'm not going to put him up. But Stroy was doing comedy 12 years back in 2017 when I did it. I mean, he's like 15 years plus now at this point. But back then, I did comedy in Detroit, and I was like just making it work where I was decent. And a lot of people did not show me any love, but he was like, yeah, bro, come do a thing. And like, there's no fear because he's so established. He has no fear of like, he's not afraid of people's potential talents. Whereas you see it a lot of where people are afraid of people's potential.
Yeah. And that's why I like that Rogan's opening a club.
In Austin, yeah.
Because these are people, like, he says it himself, you know, he's got like,
it's not about business.
Yeah, he's got fuck you money. He's like, whatever. Like, I'm doing this to further the art form. You know?
I love that.
Like when Chappelle does shit for comedy, when he like gets on stage and he says the wrong thing on purpose, because he's been doing it for damn near 25 years. He knows.
Chappelle's been doing it like 35 years.
Yeah.
He started when he was 14.
Yeah, and like there's no way that man did not know exactly what he was saying and why he was saying
exactly.
it. You know, that's the GOAT. It's like he's doing everything by intention, you know? So when he stands up for comedy and just says, I'm here to say the wrong thing on purpose. I'm not here to be right. I'm just here to talk shit. That's what this art form is about.
It like, solidifies the whole fucking thing for all of us.
You lift everybody up with you in one fell swoop because you have fuck you money.
You're like, we're winning.
Yeah.
All of us.
I have so much respect for that. And there's like so few people like that, but I think there's one in every city. And I have my list, and I'm sure you have yours.
Yeah, 100%, man. I remember I started in Michigan.
Right.
Got zero love in Michigan. Like, I was there for doing mics for months, and then I moved to California. But those first 3 months, I'd show up at the mics. Not one person would tell me where other mics were. There wasn't like there might have even been a Facebook group, but I was just so in my head and like weird. Like, I'm not like, it may seem like I'm extroverted, but I'm actually kind of an introverted guy.
Yeah.
You know, comedians we are.
Yeah.
But you know, when I came to Toronto, they're like, get on Toronto Stand-Up Community on Facebook. Get on there. There's a list of mics there. And then you go and you'll begin there. But when I got to Michigan, no one would say anything to me. No one would be like, come do my show. No one was like, hey, if you want to get up on stage on Wednesdays, go there. Then I went to San Francisco. San Francisco's more established, where it's like, they used to be the Brainwash Cafe.
Right.
And that you just show up Monday to Thursday. That's where all the comedy starts. It's like 6 o'clock Monday. So the whole scene would show up there like school.
Right.
And there I actually started getting my chops. And still they didn't show me love until I started showing up enough where they're like, oh, this guy is like, he's actually showing up. He's not just, he's hungry. You know, did you ever meet Tony Sparks?
No, I didn't.
Did you hear about him?
No, I didn't.
He's like a GOAT host out there in
he?
San Francisco. Yeah, they call him the Godfather of San Francisco.
That's cool.
Tony Sparks.
Yeah, I think I'm learning that the veterans of the game, the people that like actually support other comics, more than anything else, they respect hunger. Like they respect perseverance, persistence, people that show up and ask and vie for their spots, you know, because they're like, everything else might go away, you know, like enthusiasm might go away. Like how good you are, like we don't know how long it'll take for you to find your voice. But hunger, he's like that. Like that's probably the best indicator of your potential in like 10 years. Is are you hungry?
Yes. I actually remember Tony Sparks has stayed with me. I showed up to the open mic 3 or 4 nights in a row.
Okay.
I remember on the 4th night, I came up to do the list. He was just randomly in San Francisco, and he goes, oh man, this boy's gonna make it. He's hungry.
Right.
And I was just, and he didn't really say it to me. He's like a 30-year comic where he's constantly in joke mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna make it, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And it's years later, I'm still going to open mics and I'm still doing shit, but it's like, yeah, it's coming together. Like now I wish I was in San Francisco right before COVID hit and LA. Right before COVID hit. And I came back to the scene. That time it was 3 years later. And I got on a bunch of shit. And now I'm actually like a force to be reckoned with. And in the 2 years since COVID, since that February of 2020 when I went, it's about to be, February of 2022. I've like leveled up even. I just love the idea of dipping back into that scene where I got my chops and being like, this is where I'm at now.
Yeah, this is what I got.
This is what I got now. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's fucking exciting shit. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this shit.
It's like none of our intentions are like perfect. I assume all like our intentions are good, you know, but we do judge ourselves sometimes by showing other people how much better we've gotten, you know. At the same time I have that like look, I do what I do for love, and I do what I do for the people that like to hear it, and I have nothing to prove to anybody but myself. But at the same time, like 5 years in, if you go back to this scene that you started in when you were a terrible comic, if somebody sees you and goes, oh, and you get to look at them and go, that's right, I got what I got. Like, that's a good feeling.
Imagine being a boxer starting in a gym and like you're the worst, you're scrawny, you're just like hitting the bag, you're like garbage. Everyone's like, who's this guy? And you're there for months and you're clearly the scrub of the gym. And you go for 5 years and you come back to that gym.
Right.
When you work the bag, you're going to work it even harder than you work at your other normal gym.
Right.
Because you know you're back in that environment that like, that you were like a small fucking puppy in, so to speak, right? So you hit it extra, almost to prove a point. And it's not gloating, right? It's just like a celebration of your improvement.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where I'm fucking at.
Exactly.
Like when I was in San Francisco, I was trying to crush harder than I've ever crushed.
Yeah.
I had that thing of like, look at me now type thing.
Yeah, I get that when I go to Kitchener sometimes.
Because that was like day one for you?
That's where I like had to like vie for open mics and shit at the beginning. Like, and so now I go back and I do shows, and like I'm tempted to do my best shit just because I'm like, these people gotta know.
Yeah, exactly. They fucking gotta know.
Yeah. And it's not gloating, because it's not about
it's a celebration.
It's a celebration, but it's also like a message to the people that didn't believe in you. Like that because I get like, it's like if you don't want to help me, that's fine, but don't hurt me, you know, like because all these professions, they have like keepers at the gate, you know, that'll like you know, we were talking about it where it's like even at the shows, if you go up to someone and be like, yo, this guy is good, like if they're not far enough into the game, they'll be like, you know?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, but like, don't like, if you don't want to give me opportunities, that's fine.
Then get out of my way.
Yeah, but don't get in my way. You know, don't go to other people and start saying things like, oh yeah, or like he's like better, like like arrogant or whatever. You know, and it's like, those are the people when you go to shows and you crush. It's like, I just want you to know that when you didn't believe in me, that you were wrong.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's great, and I can't wait till 5 more years where I hit my 10-year mark, and go to San Francisco or go here. I'm headlining shit. I'll be like, yo, I was at Brainwash Cafe 2017. Yeah. Look at me now, man, breathing fire.
Yeah, I get the feeling that when I get there, I will like I think I'll be all like, yeah, but I'll probably like calm down, because the deeper you get, the more like you actually end up realizing
you get humble. You're humbled by your experience, and you're not just like, you know what I mean?
I get the feeling I'll actually like chill out and calm down a little, and like, because then we'll be stroimoid, like.
But I'm talking about on stage, not off stage.
Right.
My off stage performer will be calm.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna show up like, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be chill, but I'm be friendly, but on stage, and it's not even that I'll be amped, but I'll have my full arsenal out that night. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hit him from every angle with everything. Because I remember when I first got in, bro, people would be like, yeah, he's funny, but he just does so much race stuff. He's always doing race stuff. He's people like, they would, and that's what I wanted to talk about at the time. Yeah. Was it a lot of race stuff? Maybe. But that's what I wanted to talk about. But people use that as a thing of like, yeah, he's getting laughs, but.
Yeah.
He always does the immigrant thing. Yeah, he's getting laughs. He just keeps talking about the I look like a blah blah, or like people have a million ways to hate and put you down.
Too many sex jokes, too many dick jokes, too many curse words, not clean enough, not respectful
not enough curse words.
Just you know, not dark enough. Won't work in a black room. Won't work in a mixed room. Won't like be able to squeeze laughs out. It's like, so many nitpicks, off,
dude. I do questions at the end, but first I wanted to ask, what was your first experience of Canada when you came? Do you remember your first impression?
My first impression?
You landed in Toronto, Pearson?
Yeah. I landed at Pearson. I had a cousin pick me up. The first thing they did was take me to an Indian restaurant.
No way.
They're like, let's give you a taste of home. I was like, I have the taste still in my mouth, bro. Like, I just got here.
That's so fucking funny. Do you remember where you went?
No, I don't. Somewhere on Gerrard Street.
And then he took you straight to London, or what? Because
London?
Waterloo. You told me you were. Yeah. You told me a story about going to Jack's, but you were in Co-op in London. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened to Jack.
You told me that
yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
first... Yeah, tell the story. That was hilarious. Tell the story, and then we'll do this questions thing. We'll wrap this bitch up. This is hilarious. This goes to show you, like, the white boys playing when you first move, okay? Please tell the story.
So at this point, I've come to...
Come a little closer to the mic.
This is my first co-op, and I have not gotten drunk ever. And I've had like maybe 2 drinks. One of them was when I turned 18 with my dad. He gave me a beer and I really didn't like the taste. So I came here. This is my first time out at a club. Like Jack's in London is like a...
Jack's in London is like the rowdy. They have dollar beer Wednesdays. Like it's a bar. It is the quintessential bar.
Yeah.
All the bartenders and stewardesses are wearing high cowboy boots and shit.
Yeah. And like people are like getting up on this like small little stage and like dancing. There's like grinding and booty popping and I'm like...
So on and so forth.
And I'm like fobby and then I'm like, shit, I've never seen anything like this before.
You were talking in your version 1 English accent.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening here? Oh my God. Whoa. I was like, am I allowed to take a video? It didn't happen.
Ashwyn, calm down.
But so like 2 white friends took me. No. Yeah. And they've lived here. And they were like, we're going to show this man what life in London is really like. And so we're like sitting there and this like waitress comes up to us and she's like, what would you like to drink? And I was... And I'm like, Fabi. And so I have like things that I think are funny to say. And I was like, surprise me. and she's like, this man has not had a drink a day in his life. Like whatever I give him is going to be a damn surprise. And so she brings me a Sex on the Beach and I drink it.
A $16 drink.
Yeah. It was not a good night. And
there's no beach nearby London, by the way, too.
And at this point, I have not asked anybody out in my life on a date. I've never like flirted. I haven't kissed anyone.
Yeah, you just did 19 exams the other month. You know what I mean?
It's actually
still
true.
going through SAT fucking shit.
Yeah, like at this point, like girls are walking out to me like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, I'm still doing SAT prep in my head.
I is to this, she is the horny as I am to this.
Yeah, and I like she left, and she keeps bringing me like different kinds of drinks. Like I think she brought me a mimosa at one point. Like I'm like different drinks. She's like, oh, how do you like this one? She's actually nice. And she's like a white girl and she's blonde. And at this point, I have seen about 3 of those people and I find her attractive. And I have never known how to articulate that ever in my life. And the guys with me, you know, guys, they're dipshits.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to turn this into
Looking back, this is hilarious. Though.
Oh, yeah. They're like, we're going to turn this into a fun story. And they were like, okay, so you know the best way to ask people out, right? And I was like, no, I don't even know a way to ask people out. And they were like, oh, so the way is like, wait until she's done her shift. And then when she's leaving, you follow her. And then you ask. And then you ask. They're like, yeah, after she leaves, not in the club, okay? And so she like finishes her shift and we like pay our bills and they're like, and I'm like, are you guys gonna come with me or no? And they're like, no, we're just gonna wait here. You go, you do it. So me drunk on like 7 drinks for the first time in my life. I like walked on the steps of the club and she's like over there and like I don't even know her name. You know, and
you're like, miss.
Yeah, and I was like, excuse me. And I'm like, I'm a brown guy that looks like this, with facial hair and a beard and I'm like running behind, or at least like speed walking behind this like white girl in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. when everybody's drunk, like all creepy like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me, miss, I just wanted to say that you're really good looking and are you, and can we like go? And she's like, at this point, she understands exactly what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
And she's like, sorry, I have a boyfriend. And just turns around and walks away. And I was like, well, that wasn't so bad.
Did she quickly walk away? Was it a quick pace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a shut down this conversation right
immediately.
now. Kinda, yeah. And then I'd like...
You turned around, they're laughing or what?
No, I was just like, turned around like quiet. Like...
No, the white dudes.
Oh, they're not even here. They're like, they're in the bar losing their shit. Like,
dude,
like look what we made.
Funny. That's the type of prank where you don't even see the payoff and you're just laughing at the idea of the fucking payoff.
Yeah.
They're inside like...
Yeah, and I went back and they were like, "What did she say?" And I was like, "She said she has a boyfriend," and they're like, "Oh, what a surprise!"
Fucking assholes. That's pretty fucking funny though. I mean, that's how it works, right? You got to get rejected, and then we get into comedy, right? And learn to master rejection.
Yeah, well, if girls hadn't rejected me, I would have never figured out that it's okay if you can tell a joke and people don't laugh.
Yeah,
That was my first desensitization to rejection.
For me, that same thing was the club. The club approach was like when I was like 19, we'd hit the club, and then the like 20, the older fucking like guys would be like, "It's a numbers game, boys, all right? You go in, don't commit too much. You fucking, they'll say no, yeah, they'll say no. What's the worst they can say? No." And then it's like a number, and you're like, "Hey, what did it? Hi, man. Okay, all right. Hey, what is it? I know. Okay."
Yeah.
That's where you fucking first learn to bomb in succession.
Yeah, and now I've done comedy enough that like I'm not. Like, I still get nervous asking somebody out if I really, really like them.
Yeah.
But I'm not scared anymore.
As the more people it is, the fear goes away totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I could approach a whole group of people, and like the bigger it is, the more somehow it's easier. I'm less scared. But when it's one-on-one, like you're saying you like someone, it goes back to just what it originally was. Like, can I? Yeah. Yo, I asked 3 questions for new guests it's the first time doing the podcast. Okay,
let's do it.
First question is, let me remember what the fuck the first question was. That's so funny.
You haven't had a new guest in a while.
Yeah. What was the first question? Okay, did you get beat?
Oh yeah, of course. I have a story I tell people of like I did get whooped as a kid, but I could tell that my parents felt bad because the next morning there would always be donuts.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I was like, it sounds good, but I grew up like now thinking that sugar is what regret is supposed to smell like. Like now I walk into donut shops, like somebody smells sorry, like what happened here? Yeah, like one time instead of bringing donuts, my dad brought mini donuts because they were out of donuts, and I was like, oh, so you're not as sorry as the last time, huh? Like that.
And your caretaker's like, they fucked you up last night, right? Let's go play some fucking cricket. You're gonna win the game tonight, buddy. Okay, that's jokes. The second question is, what's some shit you've seen in India that you haven't seen anywhere else in the world? We'll say in your hometown.
Right. Well, I think it exists everywhere, but you can't really see the disparity in like rich versus poor is very visible. So it's like you'll see like on the like here it's like there's homelessness and there's like poverty, but it's like wait outside 7-Eleven and ask for change poverty. It's not I ran out of clothes, I have nothing to eat, nothing to drink, nowhere to be, like I spend my day on the street naked poverty. You know, like there's a difference. Like
Jesus, huh? Is there a lot of naked homeless people?
Not a lot, but I remember one time, like my cousins from the United States were like visiting, and they were in the car, and they like pointed at this dude on the street, and they asked my dad. They were like, uncle, why isn't that man wearing clothes? And Dad was like, because they don't have any, and they did not expect that answer. They were just like, oh, that's a possibility. People can just not have clothes, you know.
Damn.
I have like stuff about like if you go to like restaurants here, like fancy ones, you know, they'll ask you what kind of water, and that's just such a weird. Like question,
sparkling or
like,
flat?
Yeah, and I'm like, do you understand the kind of privilege required to have a palate so refined you can taste different types of clean drinking water?
Yeah,
you know.
They're like, can I get a Swiss? This is a mineral.
Yeah.
Can I get a Swiss with a little bubbly?
But the disparity between rich and poor is very visible because there's no like hood part of town. Like the poverty is everywhere.
It's just like layered throughout everything.
Yeah, so like on the same street you'll see like a 10-story building with 100 rooms owned by one person and only 5 people live there, and right next to that building you will see 100 homeless people with no place to go, you know.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, dude.
I haven't seen that shit in San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco, it's all like it magnetizes the mental health cases.
Yeah.
So it's just
and poverty does exist everywhere, even in San Francisco, like definitely.
But like seeing that though,
it's
I've never
not
seen
visible
that.
like that.
Like in Sudan, it's normal for there to be a big house, and right next to, and all the houses have a brick perimeter, right? Like
yeah,
and then next to it there'll be like a tin roof with like tarp. It's like a little makeshift house is built right next to it.
Yeah.
In like the empty lot before someone buys that lot. Like that's very common to see there.
Yeah, I've also never seen somebody like directly offer a bribe to a police officer outside of India. I've seen that shit. Like
a lot of times.
yeah, like pretty much every time anybody gets fined, like you can just pay the police officer like a tenth of what the fine is, and instead of like fining you, they'll just pocket it and let you be on your way.
And is there a code to it? Or
Nah.
does the police officer go, you're going to have to pay 100, and they just kind of look around? Or what is it? How does it go down?
I don't know. I've never had to do it. I've just seen my dad do it a bunch.
Yeah, your dad's like, he just knows the deal, just gives him the cash?
Yeah, like I remember one time I was like, like we were driving home, and my dad actually had like a few drinks, and this policeman like knocked on the door of the car with a breathalyzer, and he's like, "Sir, have you been drinking today?" And my dad like just looked at him and then looked at us in the back of the car and looked at him and went, "My wife and kids are in the car. Do you really think I would drive drunk with them?" And we were like,
You're like,
but the policeman was like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "You have the breathalyzer. Like you could just."
But that's that honor. That's that otherworld
I was
honor,
like,
pride.
What
type.
is this like honor system?
That's like, I love that, dude.
And we are clearly breaking.
It's like, sir, you smell like Winston Churchill right now, all right? My kids are in here. That's so fucking funny. Your dad's like clutch, bro. He's like, that's so good, dude. I love that.
Yeah, one time I like got into a fender bender when he was teaching me to drive, and he like got out and defended me. He's like, "This is nothing. You can't even see where the fender is bent and shit." And then he got back into the car, and he's like, "That was fucking your fault. Like you were definitely wrong.
You bent the shit out of that fender, bro."
You know, it's like when you have friends. It's like nobody tells my friends their shit but me.
But
you
yeah,
know, you defend them to the whole world, but in person, you're like, you're an idiot.
It's your dad. Yeah, he sounds fucking hilarious.
It's good.
A final question. When in India, probably specifically with your parents, but who is the butt of jokes? You know, like everyone's got like, here, Canadians will make fun of Americans or whatever it is. Like
In my family or just...
in general. I guess we can keep it in general or in your family if it differs.
Okay.
Either way.
Well, there's different... As a comic, like I have so many jokes about my brother coming out.
Yeah, your brother's gay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's just me. I don't think most people like around me that don't live in like a Western country like have enough of an understanding of like the progressive way we view sexuality to like have my brother be the butt of gay jokes that actually work. That's just me. But
Is that no pun intended there or what?
yeah.
Yeah. What's that even like though? Is India like? Is it super hard for your brother, or does he have to like play it some sort of way, or like how does you know what I mean? Does he live there? Does he live?
He lives in India still.
Okay.
I would have to talk to him more about it, but it's definitely not like they're a little behind as compared to here.
Yeah.
But there are things about India that like it's the same as like reading a room when you go to different comedy places. Like certain jokes are okay to make that are not okay to make here, and then there's certain jokes you can make here that you can't make there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there, people have gone to jail for making jokes about religion. You know, but here, you know, everybody harps on
Open season,
Christianity, right? But here, you can't do like fat shaming, and that shit
And that's
is
all
open
day
season.
over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I know a comic. This is like on Amazon Prime, and this is a girl too, and she is like, somebody was trying to explain fat shaming to me, and they were like, "Oh, this is when people around you make you feel bad about how you look," and she was like, "Oh, that's called friendship." Do you mean having friends that say, "Oh, this looks terrible on you," and you look like an idiot and you're fat and stuff like that? So yeah, fat shaming as a thing is non-existent.
Like here, or are you saying like the idea of fat shaming? That's
Yeah.
just being honest with an obese person, right? I mean, is that
Yeah. Well, I think people are starting to like get a little more sensitive about it, but they're nowhere near as sensitive about it there as they are here.
Oh, of course not, man. In Sudan, we fucking laugh all night about someone being
Yeah.
fat or someone have a big forehead or someone
Yeah.
have big teeth, but you can't make like a Muhammad joke or like you stop there.
I know so many like Indian dudes that like that still live in India that have like not really traveled that will like throw the N-word around like candy.
Yeah.
But they've never been
Like, yo, my nigga, like that.
Yeah.
But like, as in, like, what's up, my nigga, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But not like he's a nigger.
Yeah, and like there's
yeah.
no hate.
And, yeah.
But there's
But that's
also
from rap culture. And if I have never in my life told a brown dude. If a brown dude has the confidence to say nigga around me, I'm like, all right, you're right. That's the test. If you're not batting eyes back, looking to see if I thought it was okay, then there you go. Like I'm never gonna tell an ethnic person, no man, that's just I'm Sudani. I was born in Sudan. You know, it's really reserved for the African American experience, if anything. So, for me to be able to say, like, you can't. Like, no,
it's also about like the conversation is right now too like North America centric, you know, because they have their history, but everywhere, like, and I'm not talking about the African American experience in North America. I mean, like, white people in North America forget that there are other countries that have other histories. You know, because you know who was a slave in India? Indians. Yeah. You know, there's no word for us. You know, there's no like, oh, yeah, snake charmer. Like, so it's like, I come here and I'm like, hey, I have no white guilt. I can understand and learn from this culture. Hey, like some words I just like shouldn't fuck with, and that's fine. But if you come to India and you see people I used to know throwing that word around like candy, it's because they have a completely different history than you did, and like those two things are not connected. Like,
they're mutually exclusive. You have nothing to do with this. Yeah. You know?
So that shit also exists.
So I'm not mad at your friends, okay? Unless you say it around me, nigga, I'll fuck you up, nigga. Unless I have my black friends around while they say it, then I gotta be like, yo, bro, I literally have an audition right now where it's me and I swear to God, I'll show you this. The whole audition is me and an Indian guy. I think we're both drug dealers. I don't know the context. But we're outside a ghetto, and I go nigga, and he says nigga, and I go, nah, you can't say nigga. Yeah. I swear to God, the whole thing.
There's actually probably a great thing to wrap up with, too, is like you asked me like what was one of my first experiences after moving here, right? And one of the first things that happened to me was because I was like, I just walked around to people like, tell me what the rules are. Just what are the rules in this country?
Lay them out for me.
Yeah, you know, and I met this white dude, and he's like, you know, no matter what you say, don't say the N-word. And then he called me the N-word. And I was like,
hard R or just nigga?
I think it wasn't the hard R.
Okay.
But I was like, but I am too liberal to tell somebody this story uncensored. You know, like how is a white dude calling me the N-word and I can't tell other people? Like, and I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I might not be able to say the word, but you know what? You can't say the word even more than I can't say the word.
He's like, I'm closer to the end goal. You know, it's like, or the goalpost. I'm closer. You know, it's like never say the N-word.
Yeah, and I think back to like those dudes that fucked with me at Jack's in London, and I think, hey, like if like and we're friends, right? So like if like some fobby like Indian dude like came to Canada today, and I wanted to fuck with him, I'd probably be like, you should say the N-word. You should say that and see what happens.
But to her.
No. Just like in general, like if I'm fucking with somebody and they're fobby, you know, I would like, I would send them to you.
That's not as funny though. That's not as funny. I mean, to me, that's that you would be doing the mercy,
right?
Because I'm not gonna like, because they'll come up to me and be like, nigga, you know what I mean? Like I can't fuck up a guy like that. Could clearly someone sent you to say this,
right?
But if you sent them on a random dude to say it, like you get fucked up. That's not that funny, you know? Like they wanted you to get slapped or like she runs off, right? But fair. Like imagine you watch this guy just getting fucked and you run.
Oh shit, yeah.
You're like,
you're right. Can't do
He's
that.
Getting fucked
Can't
up.
do that. I'd have to find a different way to fuck with him.
That's mean, bro. Those guys did you even nicer than that. You're like, they did me like this. Bro, break the cycle, man. Come on, break the cycle. Yo, but Ashwyn, this has been a fucking pleasure, man. As always, I want you to look in this camera, tell these people where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Ashwyn Singh, ASHWYN. There's like 2 people that spell their name that way. Ashwyn Singh on Instagram, at Says Things Funny on Twitter. I have a monthly show at Cathedral in Toronto. The next one is December 12th. You can find the link to the tickets in my bio on Instagram, and you can find me on Clubhouse at Ashwyn Singh and everywhere Abbass is doing shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do the immigrant shows. Yeah, we're flipping it. Usually it's you get a bunch of white people and an ethnic act. Now I'm doing you get a bunch of ethnic people and a white act. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's how I opened the show. I'll be like, I'll pay them the same and I'll make them open and I'll be like, let's make a white guy do the same amount of work and get paid the same, but do the hardest job.
They're like, and then the white people in the audience were like, yes. It's like you guys are so weird.
That should happen too.
Yes, exactly. Fix the whole problem. I know, it's such a weird system. But yo, as always, what do you want me to put on the description? I always put this, man. You'll find his Instagram, your Clubhouse and Instagram, or Twitter and
Instagram, fine.
I'll put Instagram for sure, but I'll put another one. Clubhouse or Twitter?
Clubhouse.
Okay, all right. I'll put that shit down there. I could put 3, but then it's too many links. You know what I mean? Yo, check that guy's stuff out. He's funny as fuck. Yo, he's a truly talented motherfucker. So please check him out if you are in Toronto. Probably the next Force Diversity, I'll get you up. All right?
Hell yeah.
It's going to be sick. From my end, as always, Force Diversity. We mentioned it. December 9th, AbbasWahab.com. Get your tickets. It's almost sold out. And support the show directly at patreon.com/The Immigrant Section. There's bonus episodes and everything. This whole thing is a collective effort done by yours truly. So support is appreciated. One more time, brother. This is literally
Thank you for
been a
having
fucking
me, bro.
pleasure, man.
This has been so fun. What are we doing?
We're just saying what's up, and we're gonna say peace. Okay? Thanks, guys,
Peace,
for watching.
guys.
Until next time, peace.
See ya.